So you're thinking about lenses. Maybe you're overwhelmed by all the choices. Wide angle, telephoto, or zoom. But what if I told you there is one lens that could cover almost everything you need? I'm talking about the 50mm. Once we get into what it can do, you might find it's the only lens you need for your camera. Let's get into it. The first reason why the 50mm is great is versatility. Versatility is where the 50mm shines. Its standard focal length mirrors human vision. No distortion, no exaggeration, just reality. Imagine you're out on the street and you want to capture a scene. Not just a single subject, but the whole moment. Just take a few steps back. You'd be surprised at how much more of the scene you can include. By physically moving, you can make the 50 feel like a 35. But unlike actual wide-angle lenses, there is less perspective distortion. Tilting up or down, the corners of the frame is kept natural. This makes the 50mm perfect for street photography, or capturing scenes where context matters. You get to tell the whole story without losing that natural perspective. Now, if you step in just a bit closer, 50 behaves more like a portrait lens. It gives you intimate detail shots that hone in on individual stories. But unlike an actual telephoto lens, it does not have the harsh compression that isolates the subject too much even at a higher f-stop. This flexibility makes the 50mm a street workhorse, adapting to any moment, crowds, candids, or details, while keeping the shots true to the scene's energy. No other focal length has the characteristics of both wide and a telephoto lens. It's almost like a zoom lens, covering both ends without the bulk. This versatility means you don't have to carry multiple lenses to get different effects. The 50mm simplifies your choice, especially when you're torn between lenses, because let's admit it, sooner or later, we all collect lenses. Next is depth and separation. Another thing that makes the 50mm so useful is the way it handles depth of field. If you're shooting at f8 or f11, you can get incredible amount of detail in focus. This comes in handy when you want most things sharp. Maybe you're photographing a street scene when you want the foreground, the people, and the background all to be clear to tell a layered story. Some people might think they need a wide angle for this kind of control, but the 50mm can handle it too. But what if you want the opposite of deep focus? What if you want to blur the background and make your subject pop? The 50mm can do that too. Most 50mm lenses come with fast apertures like f1.8 or 1.4, and when you shoot wide open, the background melts away. This gives you that beautiful subject separation you usually expect from longer focal lengths. I use this to capture face, gesture, and detail against a busy street. 85 compresses too heavily, and 35 has close to zero subject separation. The 50 strikes the perfect balance. Next is the perfect balance of distance. In street photography, the relationship between the subject and their environment is crucial. What I love about the 50 is how it places you at the perfect working distance. You're not so close that you're intruding someone's space, but not so far that you feel disconnected from the moment. It allows you to stay involved without being invasive. A wide-angle lens might include too much context, overwhelming and drawing attention away from the subject. So lenses like 28 or 35 demand closeness, sometimes intruding or bruising the scene. Not only that, even seasoned photographers struggle with getting close to the subject in fear of being noticed and perceived as weird. On the other hand, a telephoto lens isolates the subject to the point of losing the story. Just a bit close to your subject, it becomes a portrait or a detailed shot. If you want to provide context, you need too much distance. In many scenarios, you don't have enough room to back up to get a shot with some context. But 50mm hits the sweet spot. It allows you to highlight your subject while preserving enough of the background to tell the whole story. That balance is why I keep coming back to it. It lets me stay observant, connected, and respectful. Next is tighter framing. The 50mm tighter framing is a game changer. Unlike wide-angle lenses that cram everything in, it forces you to be selective, creating cleaner, simpler compositions. Why do we sometimes crop our photos? Because it has too much of unwanted information, and cropping would enhance the viewing experience. You can easily remove clutter with a 50 when you're out shooting. This is great for beginners because it's forgiving yet disciplined, keeping you from the laziness of wider lenses where you shoot for crop. Unlike telephotos, it's not so narrow that you feel restricted. This sharpens your eye, ensuring your shots tell a clear, compelling story with clean composition. Next, the human eye effect. Let's talk about perspective. The 50mm focal length sees the world very close to the way you see it. The proportions feel natural. This makes the 50 perfect for storytelling. Whether you're capturing street scenes, portraits, or everyday moments, the 50 gives you an authentic, relatable look. But because of this, here's something that I've heard about the 50. It's a boring lens. It doesn't have the dramatic distortion of a wide angle or the compression of a telephoto. But I think that's exactly what makes it so great. Because it has no obvious characteristics, it doesn't do the work for you. It forces you to rely on composition, light, timing, and storytelling. If you can make a compelling image with a 50, it means you really improved your photography. Also, shooting with it reveals your preference. Over time, you will start to see which characteristic of the 50 you like. Love wider frames with less compression? Try a 35. Crave tight frames with separation? Go with an 85. Lastly, practical advantages. It's small, lightweight, fast, and affordable. You can get f1.8 models for a very affordable price and fit it in your pocket. I toss mine in my bag or keep it on my camera. No strain on long walks. The fast aperture excels in low light without cranking up the ISO or risking blur. I really hate heavy gear. Large zoom lenses actually keeps me from going outside for a photo walk. The 50mm portability gets me out there. This affordability and ease of use makes it a great option for photographers at all levels. So if you want to challenge yourself, stick with a 50 for a while. Embrace it and it will make you a better photographer. So what is your relationship with a 50mm lens? And what is your go-to focal length? Let me know in the comments. And if you like this content, then please like and subscribe to my channel because it keeps me going. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.